Welcome back to Good Morning Vail. The Vail Symposium is one of the Vail Valley's most enlightening and interesting organizations. They bring us together to discover and explore some of the world's most important issues, and tonight they'll do exactly that. Jason Pack, the Executive Director of the U.S. Libya Business Association, is here with us this morning. You're going to be speaking tonight at the Grandview Room for the Vail Symposium. Welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and so tell us a little bit about your story that led you to this work and this research that you do.
Okay, well, as you do, I used to study Syria, and I lived there in 2003, 2004, and 2005. When I was doing my doctorate at Oxford, I made it known that, hey, you know, I'd like to mix it up and not just be a dusty academic. And an opportunity came to work in consulting in Gaddafi's Libya.
Wow.
And that was a time when the country was hermetically sealed off. Think of it as something like the North Korea of North Africa. And then Gaddafi decided he wanted to no longer be a rogue nation. He wanted Western investment to upgrade the pipelines, to finally bring internet and satellite TV into the country. And one of the conduits of those changes were Western consulting firms who were advising on, you know, where should the roads be built and how should the economy be changed. And I jumped at that opportunity and left Oxford to participate in the détente period in Libya.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible, and it's led you to a career and a lifetime of research on this subject. You're one of the foremost experts on the subject of Libya and the conflict that's going over there right now. And so, for this evening's talk, tell us a little bit about some of the issues that you're going to enlighten folks on or help us understand more clearly.
Sure. I mean, there is a prevailing view that the Arab Spring was quote-unquote a failure. Obviously, that's quite simplistic. The Arab Spring played out quite differently in each context. In Tunisia, it did lead to a kind of constitutional democracy, and therefore there's a modicum of success of the Arab Spring in Tunisia. In Libya, the popular uprising, with the help of the NATO no-fly zone, led to the collapse of the Gaddafi regime, and that could be seen as a partial success. And for the first few years, oil production rebounded. The economy was going quite well. It was only after that the country bifurcated into two competing sovereignties with what we call the Tobruk-Tripoli split. And then we've had the civil war. So the civil war and the uprising against Gaddafi, two separate things. But what I'm going to speak about tonight is why all of this matters to Americans. And there's a view in this country that the conflict in Syria against the Assad regime and against ISIS, that's a quote-unquote important conflict. And it is, of course. But my view is that Libya is one of the 5 most important geopolitical hotspots for the U.S. because 3 or 4 things are aligned there. One, Libya bestrides the Mediterranean, North African, and Middle Eastern systems. It's a conduit for most of the African migrants who go to Europe. And it's because those migrants have gotten to Europe that European politics have been driven to the right. No implosion of the Libyan state, certainly no Brexit. And then it's a hub for jihadi groups, and the ability of jihadi groups to connect between the African system and the Middle Eastern or Levantine system is entirely predicated on the fact that Libya is an ungoverned space. And then there's the question of oil. Libya has the largest amount of oil reserves in all of Africa, and whether those are pumping or being kind of hijacked depends and affects the economies of all of the neighboring states.
Wow, so this is such an important topic for us to be aware of, for general awareness and in relation to why Americans should know more about it, like you've just highlighted here. This program is From Gaddafi to Chaos, Libya's Centrality in Western Geostrategy and the Fight Against Jihadism. Jason, thank you this morning for joining us.
My pleasure. See you tonight at Lion's Head, 6 p.m.
Tonight at Lion's Head, that's in the Grandview Room, 6 p.m. Thanks for watching Good Morning Vail.